Hello and welcome to Kimboshi Radio, where today, sadly, Nick could not join us, but that's alright because we have another light of my life, literally and figuratively. Sean is back to join us. Like, great donation for the show. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
But, exciting news, basho is here, right?
Basho is here.
And, I mean, let's just get right into it. So, the big story at the end of the last basho is this idea that both Kotozakura and Hoshoryu are recommended for Yokozuna promotion.
Yep.
They're considering Hoshoryu's performance, even though it was 13-2 in a Junyu show because he lost to Kotozakura and the impressive performance there, they're considering that like championship equivalent. And obviously
the rules. Tetris. You're playing Tetris with the rules.
Exactly. It's all like, for the record, like those of you, vaguely Yokozuna promotion means you need to win back-to-back at Ozeki. That's what you need. Sometimes, I mean, a runner-up can get you there. Teru technically got there on a runner-up, but he had 2 wins, back-to-back wins before that. And also, Kisenosato also made it on a runner-up performance. So that's the thing that happens.
Yeah.
But between these two guys, Sean, who do you think is more deserving or more likely? I think those are 2 different questions.
They are more deserving. I would go with the previous champion, the actual winner, Kotozakura.
Yep.
However, I think it's the other that is more likely.
Really? Okay, hold on. So first, let me just like validate your primary statement because I agree. There's something, and I think I saw this in the sumo community as well. You guys let me know if you agree or disagree. But there's this idea that like it feels a little distasteful to people for someone to have a runner-up performance and then get that promotion. It shouldn't. I understand why they feel that way because they want dominance from Yokozuna.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes.
So Kotozakura is the guy then he's got the 14-1.
Yes.
He had a massive year last year. Finally got his win over the Yokozuna Terunofuji.
Yep.
Just racked up more wins than anyone else all year long. Like, this is a great candidate. He's got the pedigree, right? His grandpa Kotozakura.
Exactly.
So I agree. I think he's the more deserving, I guess, is what I would say.
I do.
But why do you think Hoshoryu, who did not have even close to as dominant of a year, is more likely?
Personally, I think it's because he's been there the longest of the Ozekis. He, after Takerufuji bowed out, he was kind of the elder statesman of the Ozeki realm.
He's so young. Was he 24?
He's young, but he's like the last surviving it. All the other ones are kind of new names to the ranks. And I feel like if he puts out another performance of equivalency or even wins, I think that he gets it just because of that. And I don't know. I think more people like him. Dude,
he does seem like a public pick.
He puts them glasses on.
We love it with the glasses.
And yeah, he's a crowd favorite. So.
It's not unlike a dog who demands to be played with in the middle of a podcast recording. Everyone just cannot say no to him.
No.
But it's interesting to hear him as the elder statement because I like you said, I think he's like 24 or something.
He is.
He also has the pedigree. His uncle is Hoshoryu, one of the greatest of all time, forced out of the sport. We've talked about that. Don't need to get into that anymore right now. But he is also like this incredibly consistent fighter.
Yep.
Except the thing for me is his consistency is that he's the man who will never makekoshi, right?
Yeah.
Like no matter what, he will never makekoshi. And that's awesome.
Yes.
But that means he's similar to Wakatakakami on his run. There's a lot of 8, 9 win bachos in there.
Yep.
And that's not entirely what you're looking for. Hey. Stop, buddy.
It's a lot like Takerufuji's last kind of really Shodai.
Yeah.
For the last bit where it was just like, okay, I'm going to Zeki. I'm going to barely get my 8. And then I'm going to lose everything else.
Nobody wants
every single tournament. I got my 8. Time to take it. Or the very last day, you get your 8.
Yeah. And we know that Hoshoryu can put in these dominant performances like the 13 wins that he's coming off of. The difference is, like, is he going to do that consistently? And so I think that's a very interesting point. I don't think that people, at least in the English-speaking sumo world, the sumo Reddits of the world, I don't think they like that. I don't think they want that.
Yeah.
I agree. Speaking of things we don't want, we're going to take a brief break to take care of this compatriot. Welcome back. Sadly, there is less canine, co-piloting going on. But, okay, so we've talked about this idea that there are two potential Yokozunas in waiting, but big news: Terunofuji might be fighting. He apparently did an interview a couple weeks ago with the Yomiuri Shimbun, so big newspaper in Japan, maybe the highest circulation, maybe the Asahi Shimbun. I don't know the answer to that. Basically saying he wants to come back and like kind of putting himself on notice, right? Like,
So,
yeah. So there's always a question with Terunofuji returning, and the question is like, okay, if he's back, who is this? Is this 2021 Terunofuji? Is this 2023 Terunofuji?
correct.
What do you think about this? Like, what do you think you're gonna get? First, do you think he's coming back?
I think he is coming back.
Yeah.
I hope he is coming back. But selfishly, because spoiler alert, I'm going to be there.
Maybe.
Watching day 8.
Yeah.
So I hope he's there. I want to see all that. But I have a feeling that when he is there, it will not be as dominating as he used to be.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a lower level, and unfortunately, I hope not, but I think he may bail out. But that brings up kind of a theory of, do they want him to even wrestle or not? Because there's two contrasting theories of why they would want him to sit out or not. And one would be kind of to, hey, take this one off so that we can try and help these other Ozekis potentially get promoted to help you out. So there's no like infighting. There's no like SEC football where, the greats beat up on each other and at the end they don't get anything. They can just be like, to sit out one more tournament. We'll get Hoshoryu or someone else to be Yokozuna. And then you can finally come back, bow out on your own terms, and go that route. Or conversely, what could happen is that he's like, no, I had to work my way up. I'm going to fight, and they're going to have to beat me to take it away. So, hopefully it's the latter, but we'll see.
I mean, I'm always a sucker for a tinfoil hat conversation, but yeah, I just feel like, especially considering the way Teru got his Yokozuna, right? So in 2021, Teru actually won back-to-back championships, but one of them was at Sekiwake. So you can't. That's why, just for the record, that's why we were not really including Onosato in that mix of Yokozuna promotion. One, he's not been named, but also his win is at Sekiwake. There's other things too, but so Teru then had to go in and fight, and Hakuoho, the great Hakuoho, came back and actually beat him.
Yep.
So Teru ended up getting promoted to Yokozuna off of a Jun Yusho and a Yusho, right? Like a runner-up.
Yeah.
So whatever. But that's what makes me think like there's no way. There's no way. I think he's saying he's coming back because he sees another Yokozuna's on the horizon and he wants to be there the way Hakuoho was there.
Yep.
And in my opinion, that's better.
I think it's better for the sport.
Yeah, better for the sport, better storyline. It's an actual like handing off of the baton. The crazy part though is like I was rooting for Teru so hard against Hakuoho in that, which
Yes.
might not be a popular opinion. I don't know if you guys were watching that tournament in 2021. It doesn't matter though. I just like they were also dueling for Zensho Yusho undefeated tournaments. It was crazy.
So fun.
And so it was this like for me, a letdown to see Hakuoho beat Terunofuji, but then he got it anyway, and we did see his continued dominance after that, so like all's fine. And after seeing the way that worked out, I just can't imagine Teru not wanting to participate in that same situation.
Right.
Yeah,
Just think of like even before that, his career climb.
Yeah.
The depths and him just coming all the way back to
he's the best. He's the best story in sumo.
It's amazing.
There's amazing stories in sumo. Even you go to like the prehistory and Raiden, you go to obviously the Grace we've already talked about. We haven't even talked about Taiho and stuff like that. But Teru's Rise, Fall, Rise, maybe best story in sports.
It's up there.
Yeah.
It's up there.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a good documentary out there, like a fan-made documentary on YouTube. Actually, probably Sumo Stew has done it. Check her channel. But yeah, it's such an amazing story. So I can't see him not coming back. And if that means we get a new Yokozuna traveling through the current Yokozuna, I think that's better. And I want to see that more. I want to see Kotozakura and Hoshoryu challenge through that.
Yep, I agree.
But it's interesting because those aren't even the only like promotion and it changing the guard stars. Like there's these little stories, like I want to talk about the Walker brothers just for a second. Like
Everybody does.
have you been paying attention? So like technically when we're talking about these credentials and stuff like that, Waka Takakage, he doesn't, but he has 33 wins over his last 3 tournaments. It's not Ozeki promotion. Technically that's what you need, 33 wins and a championship. He technically has his championship from before and just got 33 wins.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that they need to come in the Sanyaku.
Yeah.
So like one of those was at Joy where he was in the very last basho, Magashira 3, Magashira 2, checks notes. Waka was Magashira 2 and got 10 wins. So like maybe that counts towards his total.
Hopefully.
But his brother even, Magashira 3, 10 wins, Komusubi 11 wins. So he's got 21. If he got 12 wins and won the thing, maybe just like sumo is getting top heavy in an interesting way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Waka fan. Waka Takakage is great. And all of that was just after his injury.
Yeah.
Like it was, he got promoted.
You want to talk about comeback of injury?
Boom.
Yeah. Teru is still the best story, right?
Yeah.
The way that worked out. But like the Waka thing in this current era, and I think a lot of sumo fans tend to be newer. Let me know like when you started watching sumo and stuff like that. But the comments we see on the show, often people are within their first like 3 to 6 tournaments. Like it's kind of, and I think that's good. I think that means sumo's growing in an international audience, things like that. But like this Waka story, I think for a lot of people is the comeback story they know.
He's down and down. He got injured and he got bumped up. He won Juryo and he just he just went.
It was crazy. Yeah. And I was so worried. We had our buddy Phil on the show, who's a physical therapist, to talk about what it takes to come back from that knee surgery just as a normal Joe, right? He's not working with athletes. He's just working with regular people. And that timeline, he's like, dude, for someone who's not obese, like that timeline's insane. And Waka Takakage, even though we know he's a stacked athlete.
He is stacked.
He's obese. Like if you,
but he's still large.
Yeah. Like it's,
them joints are still carrying a heavy load.
Exactly. So to see that is also exciting. So like, not only do we have these dueling Ozekis at the top, not only do we have this potential comeback of a Yokozuna, but then there's also these mixers that are coming in, which I think might be a good place for us to pivot and talk about. Sean, who is your dark horse to win this basho?
My dark horse is the darkest of horses, who is, oh shoot. I forgot his name. Hakuoho.
It's been so long since he's competed. You couldn't help it. You got too distracted by Hakuoho, his namesake. Yeah. All right.
Hakuoho.
Yeah.
So he's my darkest of dark horses. I loved him when he first came out. You know, he was supposed to be the prodigal son. He had the greased back, just the flows.
When they're little babies, they're too young for the ginkgo leaf. They just got the greaser slick back.
Oh, the drip.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved him, and he killed it. He was just destroying people. I loved him.
Yeah. For the record, for context, if you didn't see the basho, it's I think he's 11-4 and got a Jun Yu show, but until day 13 was in contention for the Yu show. And at the time, he had like just turned 20 or something. It was bananas.
Was he a rookie or was he the second?
No.
Match was the first. He was like Onosato before Onosato.
And Takerufuji, he was trying to do he was the first like person taking a shot at what Takerufuji did, breaking that 100+ year record to win on your debut. But he's also, like you said, Onosato, he's this guy who came in and just like crushed through the divisions and was trying to make it work. Like Hakuoho was the truth.
Yes.
And then
he got hurt, and
the metric ton of tape that is on his shoulder.
A whole aisle of Dick's Sporting Goods is on his shoulders.
Oh, man.
But he's back. We got a little sprinkle of him last basho. He got
double-digit wins in Juryo.
Yeah. So now he's back, and I would not be surprised late in the tournament, day 8, 9, he has only 1, 2, 3 losses, and he's right up there with the back. Right. So he's dark horse for me.
It'll be interesting. So, Spiffy, Sumo Spiffy, Goose at Sunday Morning Sumo Show put together a little roundtable to end 2024. And Spiffy apparently actually had the same sumo shoulder surgery that Hakuoho had. Not for sumo, I shouldn't have said that. But, and he said that, so similar to like when we had Phil on, He said that's a 12-month recovery.
Yep.
So like we're just coming up, like last basho and Juryo would have just, I believe, been his 12 months from that injury. Now he also had the Miyagino stuff. Like he's caught up in that and had to switch stables and he's Isagahama. And at Isagahama, the Miyagino boys are very much being treated like second-class citizens, are the reports. I don't know, whatever, situation's messy. Blah.
But he's thriving.
Yeah, he's coming back now, right? Like, there's all these things that have been a struggle for him, similar to a guy like Kirishima, right? Like some of the struggles we've seen from that boy with the stable switch and
tournament after tournament.
Oh man, yeah. So like, maybe this can be his bounce back. I'd love to see that because I don't know. He hasn't been as impressive in Juryo as he was the first time.
Yeah,
but at M15 where he's fighting, he should be better than all these guys now.
Correct. And I think the sport does well when they have dominating youth. As a big Sato fan here.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for him.
I think it drives interest wildly, for sure. Yeah. Which is why my dark horse pick, my friend, Takerufuji. I'm going again. I'm running it back. He was my dark horse. Well, I might have had Kirishima last time. I don't know. But he might have been Nick's dark horse pick. Whatever. The guy, so I was incredibly disappointed with his result in the last spot show. Yeah. He had 11 wins. 11 wins. It was insane.
It seemed pretty easy too.
You
watching him, he was destroying people.
Yeah. He had a couple losses that he shouldn't have had. Yep. And that's like, if he stamps that out, 11 is 13.
Yep.
And he's right up there with Hoshoryu.
Yep.
The guy's great. He broke that 100+ year record. He was kind of like the talk of the town for 2024.
Correct.
Even though he was only in Makuuchi twice, but he had all these 13-win tournaments and winning Juryo. Insane. I think that he hopefully has ironed out the works with his one tournament back.
Yeah.
And now the question is just, can he put it all together and stamp out those little blips that you just cannot have if you're going to win a tournament? So that's my guy. Where's he fighting? He's fighting at Maegashira 11. So I think he's still going to get a lot of those cream puffs. These guys are good. These are the best. Nick and I talk all the time. Like, we used to get down on Aoyama back in the day when he was fighting at like Maegashira 15. And then you like sit down and you look, you're like, he's still one of the 50 best sumo wrestlers in the world. You know, like, yeah. So he's still fighting good competition. I just think he's better than that. Those guys he's fighting have not climbed the mountain to the promised land.
Agreed.
And he has.
Agreed.
But besides those guys, who would be your actual favorite to win this thing? We talk about them as dark horses. There's reasons why. There's skepticism. Hakuoho, we don't know about his bounce back and if he's fully recovered from the injury. Yep. Takerufuji, he disappointed a little bit last time. So they're dark horse status. Who is actually your favorite?
So that's kind of a loaded question because it really depends on if Terunofuji is back. And contrary to what I said earlier, if he is in fact back, and even if he's 80% back, I think he wins. I think he's that good when he is in and locked in.
I don't think he has to be that. I think we've seen him win a basho at like 65%.
Yes.
Now it wasn't what we wanted to see, but we've seen it.
We've seen it happen. But, you know, outside of him, my guy is Onosato. It's Onosato. I think these last couple have really lit a fire under him. I think the last one, he kind of had a little big of a head. You know, he's still young. He had the Yokozuna belt, in his dreams. I think he's determined now. I think he's motivated. I think he will win.
I know, that's my thing too. So, okay, spoiler, I've got the exact same two picks.
Yeah.
And it really boils down to that, like, I think Teru's going to fight. I think he is going to be popping painkillers like Pez. I think he's going to be taking cortisol shots.
There will be some injections.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be all sorts of stuff, whatever. And I'm worried that means we get 12-win Teru.
Yeah.
But it's still great to have him back. I don't know if he's whatever. But if he's there, I just think what I saw from Onosato last year was insane. And we've seen these slight recessions to 9 wins.
Exactly.
After a championship, things like that. I think he's the kind of guy who, watching his two fellow Ozeki, Hoshoryu and Kotozakura, steal all the limelight and challenge and have this great run, and everyone was so excited. Like, isn't it great when Ozekis are challenging each other? And to not be part of that picture,
exactly.
I think that will smolder in this boy.
Oh, I hope so.
And he will hate it.
I hope so.
And so I really think of those guys, he's him and Hosh are the healthiest, right?
That is true.
So
Luckily, he's yet to really have an injury. Knock on
everything. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, but for real, Hosh has had injuries not nearly as bad as Kotozakura when he was still climbing the ranks at Maegashira had a bad knee injury a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Which so again appears to be in his past, but whatever, that's still always kind of there in the back of my mind. And so I just feel like he is positioned and motivated, and he could recapture the narrative, and that could be the story of 2025 then as Onosato's continued rise.
This is going to be his year. But how amazing we have 2 Onosatos and not a single name that is actually in the running for a Yokozuna.
Are you talking about my book, Kirishima?
I am.
Man. It's just, I think the lift out ruined it for me. I think last year I was still riding that train into November even. And he should be a pick. Like, he should have at least been a dark horse pick if he's fighting at Maegashira 1. Or, he should get a little bit, like, off the gas.
No.
He's good, right? Like, he's in
good.
2023, we thought he was going to be Yokozuna.
He's good. I seen it with my eyes. He's good. But now he's bad. He changed his name, and now he is bad.
Oh, he's not bad, but I hear you.
His current name is bad. Funny story. I read this. Even his wife has said to the media, yeah, he was better before he changed his name. He's not good right now.
Oh man, that's just an interesting little anecdote. Like, ultimately means nothing, but mentally. So like the stable switch matters. Losing his home that it was his home that he moved to Japan from Mongolia.
Yeah.
And then even though he's now fighting under the former Kakuryu, so his fellow Mongolian, like, that's different. Dynamics are different. Coaching is different. Who's he fighting against in that stable? Does he have training partners of an appropriate caliber? Not really. Yeah. He has been injured off and on. And then again, maybe there is that loss of identity or that weight of carrying a new name. It kind of makes it more impressive that Kotozakura is wearing his grandfather's name, the Yokozuna name, and balling out.
Yeah, that is.
Kirishima took his former stable master's name of Kirishima, right, from Kiribayama.
Think of the culture over there. That type of stuff means a lot.
Yeah.
The names have weight to them.
Kotozakura talked about wanting to fight a tournament as Kotonowaka to raise his father's name to Ozeki.
That's what his own name.
Because then it's
his father's name.
Right. The idea that you both are Ozeki then, like that kind of, so by the same token, then there's that weight of like, oh, now I'm holding the weight of my master, who, if we're talking about the stable switch and losing his master being a big deal for him, then that name would mean something too. Then that weight would be heavy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's tough. I mean, I'd love to see him bounce back, but I thought that's what we had in September.
Yep.
And then November happened and the lift down happened.
Exactly. And so the chances are dwindled.
But let us know if you think we're wrong. What I'm really interested in are, who are your dark horse picks? Like, Hiroumi is an option we didn't really talk about. We talked about those Walkup brothers. Yeah. Are they going to mix it up there? Is there someone else?
Is it Ura's turn?
Is it Ura's time? Come on.
Let Ura. Unleash Ura.
Unleash the beast. The pink beast. And then who's your favorite, right? Like, are we wrong about Teru? Is Teru back? Has he gotten enough time to recover? So let us know down in the comments what you think, because I really want to see what the consensus is moving into this thing, because we have a wild basho coming up. New year. Very excited. Thanks for watching, everybody. Talk to you again soon.
See ya.